Now this is where we step into some real analysis action to make sure that you understand how big the caldera is in terms of how much energy it kicks out. This video is designed to give you the tools to make that connection. Analyst rule number one, it's a simple rule. Before any analysis can be done officially, there must be unity among the units. Basically meaning that all the units have to be the same. So for example, if you were going to try and do math with 564 liters times 34 gallons, you are going to end up with a number that is so horribly off that, well, it'd be laughable, like comically laughable. So if we were to compare that to this would be the proper way to do it, where you would take 34 gallons, convert it into liters so that the liters are the same and there's unity amongst units. And when you multiply those together, then you get the right answer. So do not do this. When the units are different, do not. And when they are different, then you're cleared to go. Start doing your thing, doing your stuff. So how do you make the units the same? Well, that's really sort of the easy part. If you have units that are widely different, and they could be different within the same unit. And for example, we're going to do a unit here that deals with joules. We're going to actually do the first one here to give you an idea on how to do it. And it's relatively simple. See, we're using the same units here. We're using joules. And in the metric system, the prefix in front just tells you what magnitude of energy you have. So 1.3 mJ for megajoules, that's a certain level of energy. And what we're going to do is we're going to change that to see what this would equal in zettajoules so that we can actually do, the M word with them. Unity in the units. So, spoiler alert, the number of zettajoules in a hand grenade is going to be really, ridiculously small. As you recall, zetta is a big prefix. It means 10 to the 21st power. Mega is 10 to the 9th, 10 to the 6th, something along those lines. So yeah, it's small in comparison. So just get ready. When you see how many megajoules are in a zettajoule, be prepared for it to be really small. So logically, this makes sense. I mean, let's think about this here for a second. So if the volcano is measured with an energy output of 3.7 zettajoules, then one grenade is 1.3 megajoules. Okay, so volcano versus grenade. And you'll notice that the numbers here that we represent, so this is 1.3, okay, 1.3, 3.7, in terms of digits, they're pretty close, but it's these prefixes that set them wildly apart because, as you're going to find out, it takes a lot of grenades to equal a volcano. And not just normal volcano. We're talking about a supervolcano. Like a lot of grenades. Like so many grenades. So compared to a zettajoule, a megajoule is very small. Okay, so I think we've kind of established that. Okay, now, to get your head right about this, let's look at the procedure for doing this analysis. And you'll be, I think, delighted to know it's relatively not that hard. Because when we're comparing prefixes amongst the same unit, so we're talking joules, right? And we're just talking prefixes amongst the same unit. In order to figure out how many of one fits into the other, all you have to do really is subtract one from the other. So zetta is 10 to the 21, mega is 10 to the 6, and if you just subtract those two, then it tells you how many sets of mega would fit into a zetta. So basically what we're saying here is that there is a power of 10 to the 15th between a zettajoule and a megajoule. So that 10 to the 15th, that's 1 times 10 to the 15th power. And we like to use the scientific notation because then it means we don't have to write all those zeros and commas. It just makes it neater. Or you could write it like that if you wanted to, like you really love writing big numbers and lots of zeros. 1 zettajoule is 1 quintillion megajoules. It's like a lot. So 1.3 megajoules, if we're going to make that into a zettajoule, what we have to do is we have to move the decimal place the same number of zeros different between the prefixes. So, for example, if we have 1.3 megajoules, in order to convert that to zettajoules, we would have to move the decimal 15 times. That makes the number smaller. So we'd be moving it to the left like this. So you count it like you'd start here and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like a whole bunch until you got to 15. And then that right there is the long way to write how much energy is released in a grenade in zettajoules. But that's a lot of zeros. And, you know, there's a simpler way to write this. Like that. You could write it, you know, like that. That's so much easier. It's just so much easier. So, it's time to go analysis. Now that we've got both of these things in the same units, we can now do some M-word. And you know what M-word we're doing right here, right? What we're doing is we're making sure that we take this number right there and we divide it by, so we put it in the calculator first, and then hit divide by, and then the bottom one. Now, there's a video here that I'm going to assign here very carefully off to the side. You'll see a little calculator icon, and if you want to know how to put the numbers into the calculator, I'll show you how to do that. But you'll put in 3.7 divided by 1.3 times 10 to the minus 15. Now, because the zettajoules are both on top and the bottom, they technically cancel out, and what you're getting here is sort of a comparison, and I'll show you how you could read this. So the analysis results. The Caldera eruption is 2.8 times 10 to the 15 times larger than a hand grenade. Okay, so, or you could write it like this. The Caldera eruption has the same energy as 2.8 quadrillion hand grenades. So once you do the math, you get a number, and then that number can be read like this. That's what this number now means. So here's the procedure. It's really kind of 2 steps. 1, unify the units, and then divide the caldera by the thing that you're comparing the caldera with. So for example, you'd have the caldera energy in zettajoules on top divided by whatever it is you're comparing it against, and that will tell you how many of those things would equal 1 caldera. So it's a very simple 2-step process. It shouldn't be a big deal. So let me know if you have any other questions. It's time to get busy. Let's go get them.